Hello, Potato, and welcome to day 2 of Heinz Week. That's right, we're spending the whole week trying Heinz products not normally found in the US. So we're not doing ketchup and mustard and relish and stuff. We're doing things like beans. Heinz beans seem to be a staple of the British diet, and I've heard about them, of course, in fiction and television for years. Things like beans on toast. So yesterday, we tried some basic beans and tomato sauce and did some beans on toast, and they were quite good. My wife tried them, and she liked them as well. I had leftovers. And if you remember, I made some flippant comments about the can having such detailed instructions on how to open it, seeming very American. And there's a good reason for that. And some of you may have caught that when watching the video. And the thing is that this can's made for America. That's why it has an American nutrition label on it. It doesn't have a European nutrition label. I didn't catch that at all, even though I read off the nutrition label yesterday. And yeah, it says on here, these are distributed by BWI in Westlake Village, California. So these are imported from the UK. That's also why it's spelled beans with an S. Now, unless you have looked at these cans like I've been doing for the last few days, that won't seem weird to you. But the thing is that all the other varieties of beans from Heinz I've seen spell beans with a Z. And that's because they have a slogan, beans with a Z, means, also with a Z, Heinz, clearly with a Z. And I guess they chose just not to pursue that here in the US. And it made me wonder, if Heinz recognizes there's a market for these in the US, why not just make some through their American arm? And then also realized the ingredients, which I was quite pleased with yesterday, would not stay the same in a US version. They would undoubtedly pour like half a gallon of corn syrup in there because we have so much of that stuff in this country. You got to do something with it. You got to put it somewhere. We couldn't just leave it in the corn and make other things with corn. So yeah, that was our Heinz beans with tomato sauce yesterday. So there are other varieties of beans. So I thought, let's try a little adventure. Let's go with Heinz Beanz Barbecue. They have a barbecue, and I'm guessing that these are going to be the ones most similar to American baked beans, in that I'm guessing they're going to be a little bit sweeter than yesterday's. And yeah, this is clearly more of a British can. It's got the American label stickered onto it. And yeah, there's no instructions on how to open the can because, yeah, apparently that really was an American thing. I wasn't just being flippant. And there's other ways you can tell it's, not an American can. Of course, there's no reference to that BWI in Westlake. It's got the Beans Means Heinz slogan on it. It uses the word hob instead of stovetop. And nobody in America uses the word hob, not even me. And apparently it is one of your 5 balls with a star on it per day. It's high in fiber. And I'm guessing that probably says low in fat. It is vegan. It has no artificial colors or preservatives. Indeed, the ingredients are still fairly similar to the original ones there. Beans, tomato, it actually gives you percentages, which isn't on the American can. So this can should be 52% beans, 37% tomatoes. And then sugar, which in America that'd be corn syrup, concentrated tomato puree, malt vinegar, modified corn flour, smoke flavoring, salt, color, plain caramel and paprika, extract, spice, herb extract. Protein contributes to a growth in muscle mass, one of your 5 a day in half a can when eaten as part of a balanced diet. And we have words up here too. The sensational beans that you grew up with, paired with the bold flavors you'll want a bite of. Irresistibly smoky with just a dash of paprika, this blend will warm hearts, whatever the weather is like outside. Well, the weather outside is like 92 degrees still. But we'll still try these. I'm not sure what to do with them. I tried looking up serving suggestions for Heinz Beanz Barbecue, and what I found is apparently they do make some barbecue beans in the US, but I don't think they're like this. I think they're more of like what I referred to yesterday as grilling beans, or sometimes referred to as ranch beans. I don't think they're going to be similar to this. I really think this is as close as we're going to find in the range of Heinz, imported, to American baked beans, more like your Bushes. So let's pop it open, see what it looks like. Go through all the same rigmarole. Just say, oh, remember the instructions. Well, this can's not as full as yesterday, so that's interesting. I mean, do we have weight on here? Yeah, I can't bother. It does look like yesterday's, though. can actually tilt the can. That's how not as full it is. But it looks about the same. I kind of expected maybe a little bit of a darker, maybe it's a little bit of a darker red, I just can't tell because I don't have the other one sitting next to it. So give it a sniff. It does smell a little bit more like baked beans, like what I'm used to as baked beans. Do those usually have paprika in them? I think there's like brown sugar in them. Let's try a little bit cold, and then we'll heat them up. Now, yeah, the thing is, I couldn't find any instructions on what to make with these, so I guess we'll just maybe make some more beans on toast just without any other sauce, because the sauce should be flavorful, right? Let's find out. And yeah, those taste a little tinny actually, but that'll probably come out when I heat it up. Those taste a lot more like what I would consider to be baked beans by an American standard. A little more tomatoey. Definitely more tomato to it, but the sweetness, I'm not really tasting that paprika that much. But these taste not so much like Bush's beans, but like, who used to make beans like back in the 80s, like Vandy Camps or something like that? I don't think that's even right. They taste like the baked beans I had when I was younger, as opposed to the baked beans I have when I have them nowadays. But that's enough demonstrating how old I am. I guess we should go and heat these up and try them out hot. So I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. I have once again heated the beans up on the hob. I use that term now too. So let's try them out. And they do smell good. They're not super strong like I would generally expect an American product to smell though. All right, let's try some hot beans. Yeah, the smell does not travel super far from them. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a thing. I think I may have cooked them a little bit longer than yesterday. They're a little thicker. But yeah, they're good. Again, the flavor is much more subtle than I would expect from, like, say, Bush's baked beans or an American product. The tomato is probably the dominant note. I do get a little bit of the smokiness. I do get, I'm not going to say for me, paprika always just tastes like generic barbecue. So I guess I taste the paprika. I taste barbecue. But it's not super overwhelmingly strong. So, a couple things also noticed on here, actually, before I move forward, and yes, my food is getting cold, is that the serving size on this is a little different. Servings on this is 2 per can instead of 3 per can. So accordingly, our calories have gone up a little bit. They're 160 per serving on this one. And I'm not going to bother looking at the salt. I'm sure it's not great. But it's probably not as bad as it would be if it were the American version. All right, so as with yesterday, I have gone ahead and made myself for lunch some beans on toast. And so I didn't want to make it exactly the same as yesterday because I figured it's barbecue. It shouldn't be exactly the same. So I have one that's just plain because it's flavored, more of a flavored sauce. So it shouldn't necessarily need anything extra. Although eating it now, putting a little extra on it, putting a little HP sauce on it probably wouldn't hurt. And I may do that before I finish eating it. But for this one, I did add a little something. So I figured if you can add ketchup to beans and tomato sauce is a normal thing, why not add some barbecue sauce to the barbecue beans? So yeah, I've added a little bit of my Williams-Sonoma Ghost Chili Garlic Barbecue Sauce to it, which is really quite good if you like spicy things. So yeah, we're going to try, get this in shot. I want it all to look nice. It has to look pretty. So let's try the beans on toast, just beans and cheese, no other sauces, with the barbecue beans. Get some cheese this time. I did quite enjoy that yesterday. I can totally see why people eat beans on toast. It's actually quite good. All right. There we go. I'm losing it. And yeah, this definitely could use something else. The flavor's a little subtle. Maybe add a sauce to it. I don't know if barbecue sauce is a thing, but we'll find out in a second. But it is quite good. You probably use a nice bread. I'm just using the white bread we happen to have. But yeah, I might try a little HP sauce or maybe some, maybe try it with some katsu sauce on it and see how that works. But yeah, it's not bad. Again, not super strongly flavored. So I can definitely see adding something, you know, again, a fried egg would go lovely with it, but that's not what we're doing today. All right, let's try it with our barbecue sauce. So this will definitely kick up the heat a little bit. It is a ghost chili sauce. It's not super spicy. It's not one of those sauces where it's meant to just make you hurt instead of actually have a flavor. It's actually meant to taste of something, not just hurt you. All right, so here is our barbecue sauce. That's good, but I think I may have used too much barbecue sauce. It has completely blown out the flavor of the beans. I'm tasting mostly the barbecue sauce and feeling the texture of the beans, which isn't bad. I would eat that. But if you actually want to taste the beans, this probably wasn't the best way to go about it. Still, this is quite good. I don't know if I'll add these to our repertoire. See what my wife thinks. I'm going to savor some of these. But I do definitely like the normal beans. And these aren't bad. I have nothing bad to say about them. They're just not super strongly flavored. But that, in a way, that can be a good thing, because that gives you a palate to add other things onto. And that's not a bad thing. Yep, that's it for day 2 of Heinz Week. I hope you found this all interesting. I hope if this has intrigued you, you might run out and find yourself a can of Heinz Beanz Barbecue, because beans means Heinz. And come back tomorrow, please, to see day 3, where we'll do more Heinz beans. Because beans means Heinz. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.